Hi everyone and welcome back to the PACE podcast, Setting the Pace. I'm Ipsita Bhattacharya and I'll be your host and moderator for today's conversation. This podcast is created by the Pacific Autism Center for Education, or PACE, where our mission is to enhance the lives of people impacted by autism through innovation, exceptional education, and compassionate care. In each short episode, we share real stories, practical tools, and voices from our community so families, educators, and caregivers feel a little more informed, a little more supported, and a little less alone. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, Yuhan Kuo. Yuhan is a speech language pathologist at PACE's Prunridge campus with 2 years of experience. Before becoming an SLP, he spent 5 years working in linguistics and as an ESL teacher before going to earn his master's degree in speech language pathology from New York University. Today, he's especially passionate about helping students build meaningful communication and connection. Today's episode focuses on a powerful strategy, modeling with AAC, and how it shapes the way students learn to communicate. So, Johan, I would love to start at the point where things began to shift for you. You were already working closely with language early on. What was it about speech therapy in action that made you want to move directly into this field?
Hi, thanks for inviting me. So first of all, what is AAC, right? What does it stand for? So it stands for Augmentative or Alternative Communication. So it can be something very low tech, like a selection board, but it can be also like a very high tech, Stephen Hawking eye tracking device, where the device will just track your eyes and then you select it using eye gaze to say what you want. And for some of the people, maybe they use a phone. Clients with cerebral palsy, sometimes they type, sometimes they use eye gaze, depending on what's affected. Also in stroke, or when people get aphasia, whether because of stroke or TBI, traumatic brain injury, and then they lose functions in their brain, and then device can help them find words and communicate. And there are many ways we can damage our vocal tract, vocal cords, and speaking ability, an illness or in an accident. And I think there are many different ways that we can communicate. And this is just one way. And there are many systems, many different. I think in the olden days, they have dedicated device, but now with more advancement in technology, an iPad oftentimes is sufficient. Like I said earlier, with a phone, some people prefer writing. That can work too. But ones we work with the most here at PACE, at least, is a speech generating device. And usually we try to have a robust system, which means there's capability of typing, because that's what we like to eventually get to, because that's the most self-generating, right? So it's like we really know that they're living language, but then also pre-recorded phrases or pre-loaded phrases that makes communication easy to start with. Some of the more commonly used words we like to have at the front page, or like core words, languages, words that are so highly frequent in our language, like go, I want, like, core words, verbs, so that help us build language in our setting. But of course, different students have different needs and learn at different pace, and so what that look like may be different. So some might be able to use a 60 button page. Some maybe only a 4-button page to start with because of motor limitation, but usually we try to go on the more robust end because they can grow into and the most enriched language available to them. Really started when I was teaching ESL and in community college setting. It's even in like a smaller class, like let's say 10 students, or even like with 5, right? Say like a very small class, a very intimate class. Of course, there's a lot of great ways we can do communication. We can learn language, but I really miss out on a lot of the ways I can focus on a really customized for each student. So I think one exciting thing about speech language pathologists is that, especially when we work with individual students, we really get to almost like focus and zoom in to their special needs, and we can really individualize and really focus on their individual needs in various settings, and no matter whether it's like articulation or language or even swallowing. That's something I didn't know we do until I started school. There's so much more that we can specialize in, and I think I find that very intriguing. And I already love working with language, so I think that kind of just helped me like zoom into it. And I think also knowing the nature of community colleges, you see a lot of people, a lot of my students, switching careers, and then I feel like, hey, why not? Like, still have decades ahead of me, so I think that's exciting. I think as I see more of them doing that, pursuing a new career as they come from a different country, or even like after they retire and then they want to learn some English, and they discovered more, something that they want to do. I think I've met like a pharmacist who retired and then learned a little bit more about child development, and then she went into childcare. And there's still, I think that was like during COVID, and then I was like, hey, I'm kind of sick of this this online class thing, so hey, why not try something else? And I think I've known about this field for a long time, and I think it is intimidating, a lot of medical related things, a lot of neurological things. So but I finally made up the courage, and then from some of my friends as well, I think I got excited and I went for it, and then here I am. Yeah, so that's kind of nutshell of how I got into this.
And as you stepped into working with AAC at PACE, what were some of the first things you noticed about how students engage with these systems?
Yeah, I think with AAC, the first thing we notice oftentimes is a lot of students who worked on them for a while, they're very good at requesting, right? So, which makes a lot of sense, right? They have something they want, they press a button, they get it, right? And which is nothing wrong, right? I think that's a very great way to start, right? But as we all know, like language is so much more complex, so much more rich. Imagine if all we do is request, right? That would be horrifying. So I think that's how do we find a way to make it motivating enough for them to make it worthwhile for them. Social communication or social interaction itself should be its own intrinsic motivator. So this is the hope, is like making that connection with people is motivating enough. And I think that's really how a lot of us really grow up building it. I mean, a big part is, getting what we want. But I think building that connection, building that relationship is such a big part. And I think for our kids here, our clients here, autistic individuals here, it's not as simple as how we normally build connection, because it's, for us, we kind of connect those thoughts. But as we know, they see the world very differently and engage very differently. So how social interaction and connection look like can also be quite different.
So what I'm understanding is that AAC is more than just a tool. Could you walk us through what modeling actually means in this context?
So I think we as always, especially in this field, we always love to talk about modeling, especially modeling without expectations. I think there are times when we have expectations, of course, but when we say modeling, a lot of times we're talking about the part where we do it without expectation. So I think imagine how a typical developing kid grow or learn language. Right? They kind of just pick it up right, from the environment, right? Because we say it so much, we do things as we say, and we talk about what we do, and a lot of things are in the environment. So a lot of times when typical development kids they pick it up from the environment, right? They see how we socialize, they show how we get stuff with our language. How we greet each other, how we talk about our feelings, and all these things. But they don't see that with AAC device, right? And a big part is not only to the language part, of course, that's a huge part, but also how normal it is, or seeing it as a viable way of communicating. And that's huge. Like even I think for some of our kids who are just started to learn this system, I think a lot of times it's really to be able to communicate really simply. But for our for kids who are more advanced with AAC device, sometimes they have to see that it's normal to use different ways to communicate. And unfortunately, in our society, it's not yet commonly accepted, right? So if even in our protected environment here, if they can't see it as a viable way of communicating, how can they, when they go into a public school, which all their peers are not going to be using AAC device, right? So being able to see people use it, I think that's a huge part of the social part as well.
And in practice, what are some of the challenges people run into when they're trying to consistently model?
I think, first of all, there are quite a few challenges I think I've seen, and as we I think training staff as well as parents, and even modeling myself, sometimes I run into these challenges. I think first it's best to have another device, because when we take the device to model from the child's device or the client's student's device, take it away from them, and we don't want to take it away from them, right? And having one extra device, I think it's very helpful. But I think one other challenge is that I think this is so common because we're so busy, right? There are a lot of things to do, and taking care of our students and kids, it's a lot of times it's already a lot of bandwidth to process, right? And then this system, and these systems are not the easiest thing to learn, like language, right? For a robust AAC system, it is quite complex. And I've also run into parents who are telling me, oh, this is a little bit too hard for them. Which is understandable, because like it takes time to learn, and it takes time in the moment to find the words, and then while making sure the kid is still there. And that's a lot of things. And so I think we all need a lot of grace in this. It's okay. That I think starting small, right? And don't give up. Knowing when to slowly introduce it and making them comfortable versus always placing demands. I think those are a balance that we need to find, because we do want them to grow more, but then we also want them to like it, so they enjoy communicating, right?
I think this idea of starting slow that you mentioned in order to build stronger communication over time is such a powerful shift. Uh, for our listeners, for all our educators and families who are just starting out, how would you encourage them to begin incorporating AAC modeling into their daily routines?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I'm about to get into that actually. I was like that was great. So routine. I think you mentioned routine, right? That our routines are so powerful for our kids here, our students here, and using routine, like using something that they enjoy. The starting slow part is helpful, right? So I would say using what they like, and then uh, a set time, and then start with a word or two. Or it could be a word or two in a sentence, even like as you say it out loud, and then you press that word. And I think we can start learning the system, and then not as well as not putting too much pressure on right away, but then kind of keep that going. I would say that's a very great way to start and continue to build on more routines. And I think for different kids it's different. Some can do like word of the week or a core word of the week. Everyone learns at different pace. And again, the without expectation part, I think. The goal is really exposure first and not, response or reaction.
Beautifully put, that you start without
Mm-hmm.
expectations. I think that's such a great takeaway. Lastly, just for our audience, we want to know what continues to motivate you in this field of work as an SLP.
I think it's really seeing kids having a good time, and at school, interacting with each other, interacting with me, of course, having fun and enjoying that communication and enjoying building social connection. I think, and then seeing that growth of it's just amazing when you see growth, and it's we all love to see that, right? But I think the biggest part is definitely having you know, enjoying life, right? Enjoying this time that I get to spend with them. I think that's the most motivating part for me.
Thank you, Yuhan,
Yeah.
for sharing your insights and experiences with us. This conversation really highlights how something as simple and consistent as modeling can open up new pathways for communication as well as connection. For all our listeners, if you would like to learn more about PACE, you can visit us at pacificautism.org or follow us on social media for updates on new episodes and resources. Thank you so much for listening to Setting the Pace. We are glad you're here and we hope you'll join us for the rest of this journey. Signing out.